I think we're live. I think we're live.
Hey, we're here.
We're here.
Yeah, rookies.
We're rookies. Welcome to Life After Sunday live election show.
Let's go. We need like some Democracy 24, like you see on the news.
Local stuff,
Yeah.
not national stuff.
Yeah,
right,
we're going to
yeah.
be talking Arkansas ballot issues today.
Live, I think we're live. And we're still learning.
We're still learning. Rookies.
Hit mute on that. There you go. Boom.
All right, we're good now.
We're
Good
rolling.
now.
We're rolling. We're going to talk
love
about Arkansas election issues today. We're going to talk about the importance of voting and maybe a little opinion piece.
We're definitely going to have.
Oh, there's going to be an opinion piece here, and I
Because-
can't wait for this.
If Polk County, churches are fighting each other over issue 2, then we got to show them that we can disagree and still be friends as Christian brothers.
Right?
So we're going to lead by example tonight.
Lead by example.
I get to play with the Mary Jane a little bit over here.
You got shafted with the marijuana deal, but you're going to have some interesting information
Yes,
for us. I'm
yes.
looking forward to hearing it.
It's more than weed.
More. Yeah, they try to sneak something. I'm gonna get into it, but they try to be sly on that
Yeah,
one.
when I
Try to
start
slide
reading, I'm
something
like,
in
whoa,
there.
whoa, wait a minute. What's this got to do with weed?
And
Yeah.
that's a common legislative tactic, which is, you'll see at the national level, they'll say the national defense bill is this, and then they'll throw in like an issue, like a liberal issue with it. And if you don't vote for it because you don't want that liberal issue, then when you go campaign, they say, well, he wouldn't even vote for our Department of Defense.
You ordered 22 B-2 bombers, but then you also had to pay for transgender rabbit surgeries.
100%. That's
Yeah,
it.
I got you.
And so
Yeah.
that's
Okay.
a common legislative tactic, and it looks like they're doing it. Early voting starts Monday?
Tomorrow.
Wait, tomorrow is Monday.
Tomorrow is
Tomorrow
Monday, sir.
is Monday, sir.
Mr.
So-
retired guy over there
Yeah.
doesn't know what
He
Yeah,
loses
there
track
it
of
was.
days and
Yeah.
stuff. You got to excuse him.
I hate
So
you.
my favorite place to vote is what's the place that the old Walmart? What is
Yeah,
it?
it's over there next to what's that, Bargain Bin or what?
It's like the National Home Center and all that.
Where the
Brangus
National
parking
Home
lot.
Kind of across from where the old South used to be.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, right
Man,
there.
I voted there last year early, and it was so easy. Loved it.
I decided this year that I was going to wait till Election Day because I was ticked off about 2020, and I wanted Election Day. Like Vivek said, I want it to be a national holiday, but then I've kind of softened on that. I'll probably go vote tomorrow.
Just get done with it.
Remember,
Be
have
done
y'all
with
seen
it.
the meme before we get into this of the guy says me going to vote for Trump in 2016, and it's Mel Gibson smiling, and then he says me going to vote for Trump in 2024, and it's him painted.
Yeah.
Mel Gibson is Braveheart. He's painted up blue and white. He's ready to go.
That's great.
Oh, is
Kinda
that
got that going on?
is that
Yeah.
going to hold true? Are you going to wait till Election Day?
Negative. I'm voting. Well,
Yeah.
first of all, the cyber attack might happen, so I'm going to get my vote in before it does. So just to say I did, make me feel better.
Right.
Well, I'm used to Houston, where if you wait on Election Day, you're going to be in line for hours. So I'm just used to going early, getting it done, getting it out of the way.
It'll take Houston 6 days to count their votes anyway.
It will.
That's true. There's a few things that even sparked this whole live show today. Several people are asking us where we can go to find information on these ballot issues. We just stumbled across some crazy stats on Christian voters, and
Yeah, we just assumed everyone voted. We're like,
Yeah.
oh, let's not talk about that. Yeah, everybody votes. Well, apparently
Yep.
Christians don't vote.
Christians. What was the stat here? Like 51% of Christians do not
Yeah,
vote.
50%. What I read or saw, I was listening to Charlie Kirk talking. He does a ton of research on this stuff, and he found out, and he was shocked too, that 50% of evangelical Christians do not vote.
That's shocking.
Dude, if you think about that, let's just say they did, we would never lose an election ever.
Ever. Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah, we would
And I
draw
just-
some serious turnout.
So so we can talk about why they don't, but apparently they don't.
And then I think we're seeing the product of Christians not voting with the far left power structure that's forming and has formed in
Yeah,
our
I
country.
agree with that.
And that's why it's so important. And you see it on abortion and everything else that we're starting to lose these issues at a national level. But here locally, I think this is a great time to do a podcast because the issues are confusing. Like issue 2 is very confusing.
Yeah.
All of them are. So we're going to break down. We're going to keep the opinions out in the initial. Just here's the information, and then we'll go across and give some opinions.
Because we want our audience, our listeners, to be informed voters. We want you to get out and vote, and we're going to try our best to give you some information. Give these without our opinions at first, just to try to give you some information to be able to make your own decision and go vote. Because I believe it's our civic duty to vote, and as Christians, I believe it's our duty to vote as well.
Let me take that a step further. It's our civic duty to not just vote, but to be informed.
Yeah, that's true.
On what you're voting on. I'm going to go ahead and, call guilty right here. I've gone into the voting booth many times to vote in a presidential election, and there'd be some issues on the ballot, and I have no clue what they are, and I try to read them. Have you ever tried to read them in the voting booth? It's like, thou for shall not on the seventh and before, and you cannot. So you just you always just guess. Sure.
Or when you see like a Supreme Court justice and they're not labeled Republican or Democrat. In the last election, because I just moved here, I just didn't vote because I didn't want to. I wasn't informed enough.
Uninformed.
I didn't vote on those specific races.
Yeah.
Is that why you think people don't vote? Is because they're uninformed, they don't know?
I think there's a couple of reasons there. I think one, they're uninformed. I mean, you'd be amazed at the amount of people I see every day that, and I'm sure y'all probably say this too, that they don't have a clue. People that are really close to me, I don't know. I never worry about that.
Yeah.
I don't know. Or
I'm sure your wife wouldn't mind. You told me she
what I was talking about there. She's like,
say
I don't know.
that.
I've never worried about stuff like this. I don't know. And I think where I was going with that is the number two reason there is especially when it comes to Christians, most of those folks, they just want to go to work every day.
Yeah.
They want to do a job. They want to hang out with their friends. They want to be good parents, raise their family, go to work, come home, relax. They don't ever even turn the news on.
And to decide to become informed means you're jumping into a toxic, boiling pit of crap.
And you don't want any part of it.
And a lot of people are just like, I don't care. Whatever I say isn't going to matter anyway. I just want to live my quiet life. Leave me alone. And I certainly understand that.
Yeah.
But the Bible calls us not to be quiet.
Correct.
It calls us to share the gospel, share what's right, and we have a voice in doing that when we vote as Christians.
And I firmly believe, I with all my heart, that we're to a point now where people are having more and more of a hard time coming up with that or using that excuse because everything around them's turning to crap and things are in their face. Parents, you see it all over the country getting involved in school boards and things like that because this radical, alphabet soup agenda and stuff they're doing to kids is in their face now. And so a lot of these people are coming out now. And so it's good that we're doing this to get them informed because these friggin' issues are like reading an encyclopedia. So yeah, we're doing it.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, I looked up a sample ballot for our upcoming election. And issue 2 is legalese, about that thick, written by a lawyer, about that long.
Yeah.
And it's absurd.
Same for 3.
That they just cannot put it into a common person's language and help people understand it. But since they don't, we're going to talk about it. And what's our first issue?
Issue 1, we've got these separated out. I got issue 1. Mike has issue 2. Eric, a.k.a. Snoop Dogg, has issue 3. So issue 1 is... it says it's allowing the state lottery proceeds to fund scholarships at private and public vocational technical schools and technical institutes. If you see this on the ballot, like you were saying a while ago, it's going to say an amendment to the Arkansas Constitution to provide that lottery proceeds may be used to fund or provide scholarships and grants to Arkansas citizens enrolled in vocational or technical schools and technical institutions. So what's being proposed here is Arkansas legislators are asking voters to expand the types of educational institutions that qualify for state lottery scholarships. Currently, lottery scholarships can be used at private and public nonprofit 2- and 4-year colleges and universities in the state. Issue 1 will also allow students to use lottery scholarships at private and public vocational technical schools and technical institutes. So right now, the Arkansas Scholarship Lottery is only providing scholarships to, like, if you go to Arkansas Tech or if you go to UACCM or
So public institutions.
public institutions. Like OBU would be out.
Yep.
Harding would be out.
Gotcha.
And I'm going to say that from my opinion piece later. But and so how did this issue get on the ballot?
That's what I was wondering.
The Arkansas Constitution grants the legislature the right to include up to 3 constitutional amendments on the general election. Got my papers messed up.
It happens.
While you're looking that up, I just want to say, since you just so happen to mention Harding and OBU, last night there was a football game played against number 1 Harding, and no one gave Ouachita a chance, including myself, and lo and behold, Ouachita pulled out and beat number 1 Harding.
It's crazy.
Epic.
And you were there.
Unexpected, totally unexpected.
Sure. So
all right, back to you, sir.
This is going on the general election ballot. The Arkansas Senate and the House of Representatives voted to place issue 1 on the 2024 general election ballot. Constitutional amendments require the approval of a majority of voters in the statewide election, election day, November 5th, 2024. So moving forward, like, so what vocational schools, what does that look like? What is a vocational school?
So isn't that what Pettagene used to be, and now it's something else?
That's
Yeah.
Community college.
Community
college, yeah.
But that could count, though, couldn't it? I don't want to get in front of you.
No. Right now, the scholarship lottery can go to any state
Public.
2- or 4-year institution.
But
they have some programs at UACCM, like if you want to be a mechanic,
that's where I was going with that.
or they have like some, like, this I don't know. They do have like a CDL program. It's like a 4-week. Stuff like that. They do offer there.
They can't be used there.
It cannot be used at the moment.
But if this passes, it will.
If this passes, this will be.
Does it give amounts?
I haven't seen any amounts. It says vocational and technical schools are not defined in the proposed amendment. However, the Arkansas Division of Higher Education considers vocational, technical, and technical institutes to be privately funded schools that offer certificates and diplomas. These institutes are not required to be accredited. So, like, my wife, she does hair.
I didn't think about that. Yeah.
So she's a licensed cosmetologist. That's a technical school. The Arkansas Division of Higher Education this year proposed several policy changes to the scholarships that included public or private vocational schools and their definition of approved institution of higher education as of January 2025. The proposed policies, which must be approved by legislators, said the vocational schools and technical institutes would be approved institutions of higher education only if their primary headquarters are located in Arkansas and they are eligible to receive the Title VI federal student aid funds.
Okay, so translated, they want to expand who can get access to this lottery scholarship.
Lottery scholarship,
Okay.
that's right.
And
Do you have an idea? Do we know? Is it in there? Are you going to tell us how much money does the lottery scholarship pay out, like, yearly right now?
I don't.
it's
right
a
here.
lot.
Sales of lottery tickets in Arkansas raised $114.7 million for college scholarships during the 2023 fiscal year, July 1 of 22 through July 30th of 2023.
That's a lot.
That's a lot of money.
The current lottery-funded scholarships include the Arkansas Academic Challenge Program. That started in 2009, and it funded $20 million and $54 million, a little over $54 million in the fiscal year of 2023, and the Arkansas Workforce Challenge Scholarship, and that was a little over $581,000 in 2023.
Yeah, so a lot of money.
Yeah.
Before Eric, you get on yours. I want to make a point that Arkansas is one of I think it's 15 states. Yeah.
Yes.
In the country that allow is it the people can come up with basically a signature campaign to propose amendments to the Constitution.
Yes.
Now, on the surface, that sounds great because it's the will of the people, right? But in reality, that's how outside influences, national influences, can come in and begin to change our state
Like the
law.
abortion issue.
Like the abortion issue, fully funded from outside our borders. And the other side of that is just imagine, you don't always want the people. You don't always want the people to be able to just come up with what's a good idea. I mean, what's next? I mean, defund the police. Let's put that out there. You know, who votes for not paying taxes? We all. You could propose amendments that would pass overwhelmingly with the people, but that doesn't mean that it is a good thing.
Right.
We'll talk about that here.
And
in just a
so,
minute.
so yours got on the did yours get on the ballot? Issue 3
Yeah.
through signatures. Okay, so same thing. So just as an educational note on there, that I didn't know that when I moved here, and I found it's not really a good thing.
So one last piece on here, and we'll move on to issue 2. So what does this mean? What does your vote mean? So a vote for means that you are in favor of changing the state constitution to allow proceeds from the ticket sales of the lottery to fund scholarships and grants to vocational schools. Vote against means that you would be against allowing the Arkansas Scholarship funds to go to fund these scholarship
Just leave
programs.
it like it is now.
And just leave it like it is now.
Which
So this is actually pretty straightforward.
I'm about to say we're not giving opinions yet, but who would vote against that? You know,
I don't know.
I was like, what?
That's why I kept asking him. That's why I was asking him questions about like how much money are we changing? Are we taking money away?
Is
here
there
to give-
something hidden
I was
in
waiting
there?
on him to drop a hammer on me.
Sometimes
Yeah.
I guess
Yeah.
they're just that clear.
This one actually is pretty clear, and I'm actually glad that I had this one because I worked in a trade my whole life, construction, and
And you just
there's opportunities for kids.
And you just
they can make
finished
a
your
lot of
online
money.
degree.
I did,
I mean, you
but
think-
they don't even have to. They can make you can make a good living. I mean,
wonder
doing
what-
heating and air. So we did a job fair last year, and it was just for trade programs, and we filled up the Conway Expo Center, and it was just a lot of kids, colleges or high school kids coming in. There was construction guys there, and there was HVAC guys there, and there's, you know, the highway department was there, and there was just all these, you know, trades that kids don't know about, and they don't know. They think they're drilled in their head. You got to go to college. You got to go to college.
Well, I've got friends who are in the millwright in Russellville
Yeah.
and make great money.
Yeah.
And get great training.
Man, think about all those welders and stuff. Or like,
Yeah, the welding guys were there.
The welders and oh man, there's the people who are going to go to EMT school.
Yep.
Yeah,
I mean, who knows where that will lead them? And that little jump start right there, be everything.
Huge.
Yeah.
I mean, this isn't something we're trying to add. The lottery card, it's already here. It's been going.
I was here.
Abby Grace used it, I think, when she
Yeah,
was.
Bailey used it.
Yeah, so I mean,
That's
we're
a
not.
good thing.
Yeah. Anyway,
Why not expand that to allow some of these kids that don't want to go to college? And we're getting opinions,
Which
but
is actually a lot of kids in Arkansas because, like the U of A there aren't enough kids in the state to go to U of A to make that university grow. That's why 50% of their enrollment is from out of state, Texas being one of the main ones. So anyway, so what? On to
issue 2.
So issue 2, you can get lost and then
not as straightforward.
It's not as straightforward.
It's not as straightforward, but if you want to get into if you want to get confused, you can. But I'm going to make it very simple for
Make
you.
it simple, Mike.
This is just separating out all the minutia. You vote yes on this amendment if you do not want a casino in Russellville. You vote no to keep the casino, which sounds
Backwards.
opposite to what you think. That's why this is so confusing. So yes says that you are voting for revoking the license, which has already been issued by the Gaming Commission. The Quorum Court has already voted for it, has already issued a letter stating that they support Legends. So if you vote yes, you're voting to remove the license and then that would enact for Pope County to get a casino in the future. It would have to be approved by the residents of Pope County only to get a casino here. So instead of a casino commission voting, and they vote based on if the quorum court says, yes, we do want a casino, which is what happened here. Quorum court said, we want a casino. They voted on it. They said yes. It went to the casino board. Casino board said, yes, we approve. And then it comes. This puts the decision into a popular vote instead of through the commissioner's court and through the gaming board. So, yes for no casino, no to keep the casino if you just boil it all down. I mean, it's as simple as that. And the other thing, too, this is a statewide vote. So while Pope County may say, yes, we don't want a casino, the statewide vote could very well go, no, we want to keep the casino. And regardless of what Pope County says, it will move forward. And so there's a lot to debate in a little bit about that. But if you want to just take it all away, yes for no casino, yes for no casino, no to keep the casino.
How did we even get back here if it was already voted on?
So some of this will be opinion, but a signature campaign was initiated by opposing casinos, those people who are right across the line in Fort Smith. They view Pope County's casino as getting into their pockets and their money. And so their campaign has been, like they've actually used Christians and their values, to lead the charge for no casino. But the ultimate driver, the money providing that, is actually their heart isn't in the right spot. Their heart is to keep their casinos making money, and they're using the cover of the Christian, because Christians are very strong in Pope County. They're using that cover to attack the issue. So that's
these are casinos like in Oklahoma.
These are competing casinos who view Pope County, because you got to think, how much money is the one that's right across the border in Fort Smith? I've never been to a casino except in Vegas, and I hated them because it smelled like smoke. But that is who's fighting us the hardest. And of course, you got the one down in Pine Bluff. But basically, opposing casinos who don't want to lose money are fighting this and have put it in court and challenged it. And then they also funded the signature campaign, which goes back to Arkansas being one of 15 states that got it onto the ballot and are trying to get it defeated through the popular vote in Arkansas.
Wow. This one, if you didn't know, like you see a billboard in Russellville and it says vote no on issue 2 or vote yes on issue 2, and you just went off of that, you would have no clue what you're voting for.
No, and they even flew a plane over the stadium. Did you see it? It said vote no.
Yep.
So you've got powers on both sides hitting hard. Have you gotten any mailers?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
I've gotten some mailers
absolutely.
on it.
Me and Carrie were actually sitting on the curb waiting on the hog walk. And I said, hey, look at that. And it was a prop plane.
Hey, like you're on the beach.
Yeah, it was exactly like that. Yeah.
So to avoid confusion, I'm not going to read the legal stuff to try to simplify it, because I actually had to stop and reread it multiple times to make sure that, like,
Wow.
I know I'm sitting there going, yes means no casino.
You gotta,
no means keep casino. Very confusing.
You have to like say it in your brain. It's like
And your
saying
brain's
no
going,
and shaking your head yes.
Yes,
Like
yes. It's very confusing, which I think will throw the election maybe in a direction that the citizens may not have wanted because of the
wording,
confusing nature of the words.
Do they do that for a reason? Or can't, I mean.
I don't know.
I don't know either.
You can go down rabbit holes there. But again, it goes back to what we talked about earlier. Uninformed voters are going to walk into that booth, and they're going to know enough like for instance, that they don't want the casino.
Yeah.
They know that in their mind. They know that I don't want that casino.
So boom,
they have not done their homework.
And then they hit no.
But they just voted for it.
They just voted for it.
Exactly.
Okay, yes.
Exactly.
That's a good point.
So
On
everybody, please. Can you give me some? I should have got some music for this or something.
No.
Snoop
Some
Dogg.
Dre or Snoop Dogg
Yeah.
or some Cheech and Chong or something here. So I got lucky enough to get issue 3 here.
You spoke very quickly when we were giving out issues, and he said, "I want issue 3."
I do because
I don't even know what it is until you educate me.
Yeah, I
Right,
do.
me either.
I wanted this one. I wanted to talk about this one, and again, no opinion involved in this just yet. But fun fact: the guy who's going to speak to the marijuana issue has never in his life smoked a single bit of marijuana. Not even. I've been around enough of it to know it's just anyway.
I
No opinions.
despise the odor.
So I'm going over issue 3, which is the Arkansas Medical Marijuana Amendment. Okay, that's its popular name. The ballot title is like 77 pages long, so I'm not going to read that to you. Like I'm still going through here, trying to get to the end of the title by itself. So, issue 3, how to get on the ballot? How are we here? You mentioned it earlier. Okay, Arkansas is one of 15 states. All right. Where citizen groups can, with voter petitions, put a proposed constitutional amendment, state law, or veto referendum on the ballot. Okay? As it stands, let me just say this. So, you're going to be shocked to learn that the medical marijuana amendment is not just about medical marijuana. It is also about changing the way constitutional amendments are addressed in the state of Arkansas. So, go down this road with me. I was really shocked when I read this. I had no idea. So, currently, as we sit here today, a constitutional amendment to the Arkansas Constitution requires sorry, lost my spot there. Okay, currently, as it stands right now, constitutional amendments, once they're complete, right, once they're done,
Once they're voted on,
it requires 2/3 vote from both the House and the Senate, the legislature, state of Arkansas legislature, to undo that.
Okay.
Okay? All right? This amendment proposes doing away with that.
Oh,
Okay?
wow.
And making it to where once any constitutional amendment is voted on and put in place, unless it specifically states in that amendment that it can be undone,
It can't
done.
be undone.
Wow.
Which is, it can never be undone
That's the
unless
way I
it's another
understand it.
ballot petition.
That's the way I understand it.
See,
Well,
that's
yeah. So,
scary.
And they're trying to, well, go ahead.
So defund the police gets passed through
that's where I was getting ready to go.
a left-wing
Yeah.
organization, and then it's locked in there, and our legislatures can't even come in and
Can't do
fix it.
nothing about it.
Yeah. So issue 3 proposes adding a new subsection to Article 5, Section 1, which is currently where the 2/3 policy or referendum is, that would prohibit legislatures from changing or repealing constitutional amendments without approval from the voters, unless that amendment expressly allows them to do so. So, my question is this, and we're going to talk about this later in the amendment. Why is this in the medical marijuana? What's this have to do with any?
Yep.
Why is it in there?
We're trying to slide it in undercover.
Sliding it in.
Yeah. So,
Oh, yeah, no opinions.
No opinions.
Oops.
Opinion piece coming soon.
so I don't want to. We can go on forever about. I'm gonna get into the marijuana part now. So, Amendment 98 is where the Medical Marijuana Act lives in Arkansas right now. Okay, we all know medical marijuana is legal here in Arkansas, and so they're proposing that we make some changes to that. Okay, and I'm going to kind of read to you what those are. So It will repeal permission previously given to the legislatures in Amendment 98 to make changes to Amendment 98. Okay? And it puts the Alcohol Beverage Control Commission in charge of the rules for cardholders growing cannabis at home. And it establishes that the state could be sued for not establishing or enforcing parts of Amendment 98. Okay?
Blah, blah.
So what's it going to do? It's going to expand who can certify a patient for medical marijuana.
That's the key point.
From physicians, where it is now. Currently you have to be a physician, right? To changes that to healthcare practitioners.
So now,
AKA nurse.
Which are defined here. It's defined as doctors, obviously. Osteopathic medicine, nurse practitioners, physician's assistants, and pharmacists.
Pharmacists.
Who hold a valid, unrestricted license to practice in the state of Arkansas.
A pharmacist.
Again, I'm curious about that. I would love it. So I wish somebody out there would fill me in on how that's even. Yeah. Anyway, so it will eliminate the requirement for physicians to have a controlled substance license on file with the U.S. Drug Enforcement Agency to be eligible to certify. So they're no longer going to have to do that. Okay. It eliminates the requirement that physicians have a patient relationship. Okay, with people seeking medical marijuana cards. Such a relationship typically involves a physician performing an exam on the patient and being informed of their medical history. Not anymore.
not anymore.
Okay, according to this. Okay, it expands the use of telemedicine. Okay, by allowing it for people seeking medical marijuana card certification for the first time. So they don't got to go to the doctor now the first time. They can just do telehealth. Currently, telemedicine is only allowed for renewals of cards. Okay.
So right now you have to actually go to the doctor first time.
Right now you got to go to the doctor, an actual doctor, the first time.
Not a nurse practitioner, not your pharmacist.
We're at a doctor. At the moment, okay. Okay. Let's see. It expands the qualifying medical conditions to include any debilitating condition a patient has that a healthcare practitioner concludes might be alleviated through the use of marijuana. Okay? All right? It allows people who live outside of Arkansas to apply for and receive registry identification cards in the same way as Arkansas residents. Okay? Individuals from out of state with equivalent of a registry identification card from somewhere else in the United States would also be allowed to enter and purchase medical marijuana in Arkansas at an Arkansas dispensary and subject to Arkansas laws. It exempts parents or guardians of children who have a medical marijuana card for their own qualifying condition from having to undergo criminal background checks as part of being certified to purchase medical marijuana as a caregiver for their children. Okay? It prohibits the state from charging what is currently a $50 application fee to receive a medical marijuana card and make it such that there will be no application fee. Okay?
Also, it's now free.
Yes, it's now free.
We're loosening it big
now,
time.
Yeah.
And I'm getting there. This is a pretty lengthy one, y'all, but there's a lot in here, and it's important. So it extends the expiration date of medical marijuana cards from 1 year to 3 years. Okay? Extends all existing patient cards by 2 years automatically. Okay? So everybody gets a free 2 years right off the bat. It would also remove language allowing a physician to issue a written certification for less than 1 year if he or she believes the qualifying patient would benefit from the medical use of marijuana only until a specified earlier date. They can't do that no more. Okay? All right? In regards to personal use. All right? Amendment 98 would be changed to remove a prohibition on growing marijuana at home. Cardholders 21 years and over would be allowed to grow and process for their own use no more than 14 cannabis plants at one time.
Good night.
Come up with
Good
14.
night.
That's what I'm wondering. So
It's like, hey, let's not do
and it gets more specific.
12.
They would also
14.
14.
They would be limited in terms of size to 7 large cannabis plants, 14 or more inches tall, and 7 smaller cannabis plants, no more or 7 smaller cannabis plants. No more than 14 plants could be grown at a single home, even if there are multiple medical marijuana card holders living there.
So you can't. That's not per card holder. That's per household.
Yeah. It also allows card
Per
holders
card holder.
or their designated caregivers to buy the seeds from dispensaries to grow at home. Okay, and this is, y'all need to listen to this one. Regarding advertising and packaging restrictions, Amendment 98 would be changed to place advertising restrictions on processors. Current restrictions only apply to dispensaries and cultivation facilities. It will remove the marketing and promotion from restrictions.
So now we get advertisement.
Regarding advertising appealing to children. Okay? It removes current restrictions related to appealing to children in medical marijuana advertising and marketing so that such restrictions no longer extend to artwork, building signage, product design, indoor displays, and other forms of marketing.
So let me get this straight. They can, if with this amendment, they can be able to put that stuff on this packaging.
Yes.
Okay, proceed.
Okay, there's a lot of other things that goes into, like the dispensaries.
Yeah.
We don't need to
It
know
allows cultivation facilities to sell marijuana to a processor. Current law only allows them to sell to dispensaries or other cultivation facilities. It removes a requirement that product package. This is back to the advertising. Removes a requirement that the product packaging meet the federal consumer safety regulation for poison intervention. Okay.
Removing that.
Yes, removes that.
Wow.
It states that the Alcohol Beverage Control Division's rules would require packaging that either 1, cannot be opened by a child, or 2, prevents ready access to toxic. Saying that they still got to have the packaging be designed a certain way, but the advertising of the product, the restrictions on that has been removed, or will be, according to this, will be removed. If it goes into effect, it will go into effect on November 15th of this year. So, with that in mind,
They're not even waiting until January.
no, it goes into effect on November 15th. A vote for means you're in favor of changing the Arkansas Constitution to prohibit legislatures from changing or repealing any constitutional amendment without another vote of the people. And you are in favor of expanding the state's existing medical marijuana program with regards to who can qualify for the program, the types of healthcare professionals who can certify the patients for the program, and to allow patients to grow marijuana at their home, among other changes. If you're against it, you're not in favor of changing the Arkansas Constitution to prohibit legislatures from changing any constitutional amendment without another vote of the people, and you are against expanding the state's existing medical marijuana program with regards to who can qualify for the program, the types of healthcare providers who can certify the patients,
Blah, blah.
and allowing patients to grow marijuana at home.
Yeah.
That's issue 3.
So that'd probably be a good one to jump on the opinion piece since
I think so.
our minds are
Yeah.
kind of hot
Hey,
on it.
look, before we jump on that, I just want to say thanks to our listeners for hanging with us. Leave us a chat. Let us know what you think. Say hi. Let us know who you are.
Yeah.
And if you got any questions for us regarding any of these issues, we'll try to answer them. Any regarding on voting, anything.
And as we give our opinions, I'd love to hear theirs too.
Yeah.
What they think
Yeah.
about it. Yeah.
Just
Because I'm curious. I genuinely am curious.
yeah, we'd like to know what you guys think. Chat. So light it up.
All right, let's go
Light
with
it.
3.
My man drops light it up right there on issue.
Pretty good.
I'm so high.
So, issue 3, definitely I'm against. I'm glad that there are people who have access to marijuana that need it for those medical conditions, but I don't want it expanded. And the reason for that is my wife's from Oklahoma, and Oklahoma, even though they're the most conservative state in the union by far, they went overboard with allowing marijuana for personal use, and they basically did the same thing. They opened it up where if I'm coughing, I now get a medical marijuana card. And now you can't drive through a major city in Oklahoma without smelling weed coming out of the car in front of you. And every cruddy strip mall, I mean, I'm talking every other block is a dispensary. They're everywhere, and they're now growing it in fields behind neighborhoods. And you've got people going into the fields, stealing the marijuana plants, they're going in there and smoking. It has not made society better. And that's kind of one of the things that I view things. Does it make society better or worse? I know you have some more information on how it's worse. But from Oklahoma's experience, and I'll kind of go into that with casinos as well when we get to that, but from Oklahoma's experience, the conservative Christian state that they are, they regret it big time because it's gotten out of control. All of their health care costs are skyrocketing. The number of what I call zombie walkers, you just see them walking down the street on bicycles.
Mindless.
They're everywhere in Oklahoma, and they're trying to pull it back. So definitely, hey, if you need it, there's a way for you to get it under current law. I definitely don't want to expand it.
Yes. During my research for issue 3, I stumbled upon some issues in Oklahoma, and you may specifically with drug cartels.
This is new information to me.
Yes. So because you can grow it at home, right?
Yeah.
So the drug cartels are coming to Oklahoma and growing it legally, but they're not using it legally.
Yep.
They're taking it all over the United States.
Selling
from
it.
growing it at home because they can.
And the Oklahoma sheriffs have said, we can't do anything because the law is so confusing, and we don't know, is this plant okay to be grown, or is this plant over here not? So it's kind of the same thing. It's all clumped together, and it's so hard to enforce from a law enforcement perspective that they literally can't do anything about it right now.
Wow. I got a little bit of an inside look, so to speak, behind the scenes to Arkansas's medical marijuana ramp up when it first became a thing. In a past life, I worked somewhere that was involved in the issuing of medical marijuana cards. I did not work for an agency that was supposed to do that. But because when they opened it up, the demand was just insane. They were pulling people from other agencies to come and help process these applications. And so I got to kind of see some of the conditions that people were getting requesting medical marijuana.
No, they're a joke.
Cards for, and it's an absolute joke. There's no other way anybody with any common sense can say that that's not. When you're looking at it, you're looking at these people, you're looking at their application. Again, and I'm like, that's bullcrap.
Yep.
That's total crap. Anyone knows. Everybody knows it.
Yeah.
The people who work for the agency that were doing this were in there going, "Oh, this is crap. This is crap. This one's crap."
Well, it's just like abortion, where all you hear them talk about is rape and incest, which is actually less than a percentage of all abortions that occur. But that is used as the discussion point, when the reality is they just want it open for everyone to be able to do it anytime that they want.
Yep. And I've also seen personally what happens to people who are using it medically, that really don't need it medically.
Yeah.
And that tied me, that personal experience I've had with that led me down a road to look up and say, are they struggling in these other states? And I found some studies, and there's one in particular. I didn't know there's a name for it. What's happening in these states, and it was done. The one I found was from Columbia University, not exactly a right wing bastion of right wing ideology, right? So when I saw that, I'm like, okay, I'm going to dive right in here and see what they say.
Yeah.
So. I guess they wrote this before their Palestinian protest. They weren't too busy at this time, I guess. But anyway.
The ones funded by Hamas? Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
So there's an actual thing. It's called cannabis use disorder. I didn't know that. Or also known as problematic use among adults increased after the legalization of marijuana use, according to a new study from Columbia University School of so many words it's too long. So, adults age 26 or older, among adults 26 or older, past month marijuana use after legalization was 46% higher than in non-use states. Okay? Similarly, can't say that word, frequent use rose by 23%, and cannabis use disorder increased by another 37% in those states where it is legal. And it's increasing. At the time of this study, they don't have enough hard facts when it comes to kids yet, but there is an increase.
What about the people in like Colorado? The ER visits are through the roof because they're basically overdosing on marijuana, because the marijuana that they're getting now, the THC level that we grew up with is now like quadrupled. The THC, that's what intoxicates you when you smoke or take marijuana. And so the weed that's on the street today and that is being grown for medical purposes all are getting higher THC levels. And if you even notice the smell of it, when I first started in law enforcement, marijuana had a certain smell, and now the change in just the smell alone, I mean, that disgusting, dirty skunk smell, I mean, everything, because it's human nature. If you're selling a product that intoxicates people, but it intoxicates them quicker and they get it harder, if you increase the THC level, they're going to do that, and that's what they've done.
Yeah. I want to come at it from a different little angle here about why I don't like the fact that they can now market this even easier to children.
It's pretty gross.
They're gonna make it in gummy bears in a little cool package. It's gonna look like candy, and boom.
Those edibles.
And who's gonna be able to tell the difference?
Yes.
Nobody.
And isn't it funny how they're attacking vaping, legal vaping, as if it's the worst thing humans have ever done? I mean, remember there was a company that was put out of business because they marketed their vapes. They said that they marketed them toward children because they made flavors like strawberry.
Yeah.
And I just think it's funny how governments across the country are talking out of both sides of their mouth. In 1 minute, it's vapes are bad, but in the next minute, marijuana's good.
Yeah.
And marijuana, we haven't been smoking where they can actually study it from a national perspective. You can't tell me that smoking something without a filter into your lungs over the course of 30 or 40 years isn't going to have a detrimental effect on everything. Yet they're not talking about that.
Yeah, that's the kid thing. The advertising to the kids, that really kind of already had a disdain for marijuana. Now, before I say that means
if you do it, cool.
Well, hold on. Yeah, that's it's on you. And I do believe that, like, you look at hospice patients and folks like that, or veterans who may have gotten traumatic, just horrific injuries and stuff. Man, hey, I have no problem with that. But that is not.
That's a medically need, though.
Yeah, this goes back to
different.
The abortion thing earlier, like you said, with rape and incest. Okay, they're going to use that. That's not what this is about.
Yes.
Okay, and let's don't leave this too without discussing why in the world they're squeezing that into this amendment, the whole constitutional amendment thing. But it's not about the medical part here. This is not what this is the goal here. The goal here is light it up all over Arkansas.
I can't remember. Did you say anything about? Did they add different new? Did they expand on the quote unquote reasons?
Yeah,
that you could get the card, more reasons, easier to get, obviously.
Make it where you can get it for anything.
Yeah, they did. I wish I wouldn't close my computer. It said it can be any condition that is deemed, that's what it was, any condition that is deemed debilitating by, which is no longer going to be the physician, the medical practitioner.
By your pharmacist.
My sister works at the pharmacy.
That is so weird.
Dude, I need to start blazing up. But anyway, Yeah, that will be the new case. So it could be, and it says in there, any debilitating condition which your medical practitioner deems that you might benefit from the use.
That's pretty loose. That's loose wording.
My knee hurts.
Yeah, that's where it'll be.
That's what I'm saying.
And I don't think the common folk who don't smoke marijuana know this, and I know this because I have a friend who uses it medically, and he said it is astronomically expensive to get. So he has a card, he can go buy it, and he said he got to the point where he just couldn't afford it. So he quit using for his medical condition because he literally couldn't afford it.
Wow.
And it kind of goes full circle to the folks who are going to be throwing money at these organizations. Because at the end of the day, as we'll find even with the casino issue, everything comes down to money. This is a giant money-making deal for the companies that are going to be involved in this. And you're going to have people who don't have the money to buy this stuff who are going to be buying it.
Yes.
And for their coughs or whatever they are. And so, yeah, just a bad deal all the way around.
And let me tell you, too, just before we get off this on a kind of a funny note here, it's absolutely disgusting. That stuff is gross, dude. It stinks. I have people come in and interview for a job all the time.
I hate it.
That smell, dude.
I'm going to tell I don't think people get it, but this is the way a non-smoker feels. I'm going to use a gross example. But like if you're smoking and like a stoplight, or if you're smoking your weed wherever and it's blowing and I'm smelling it, it's like, for me, that's like the equivalent of me going and like farting in your face. And I can make the argument that my farts aren't going to hurt you or intoxicate you, but your smell is coming into my lungs.
Yes.
It's been inside your nasty lungs. It's been and you got your and it's now coming over to me. Man, I despise it. I think it's because my mom and dad. If my mom's watching, sorry. I was that kid growing up in school where you go on long trips in the summer and the AC would be on max AC, and your mom and dad would be up front smoking.
Oof.
And the whole interior of the car was a cloud.
Yes.
And you're back there like this, and you're like, can you just crack the window? And they're like, no, you will not. And you're just like, it made me hate smoke of any sort.
Yes, my parents did the same thing, except my folks, it never failed. We would always be going to a family reunion or something. They'd throw in 6 or 7 plates full of deviled eggs. In the back. So I'm in the back seat. Dad's going to town on some Marlboro Reds, and I'm holding the deviled eggs. And it's 2.5 hours up the mountain to Ozone. You know.
You need counseling after that.
I do.
Listen, he still can't eat deviled eggs to this day.
I will not touch a deviled egg.
See, why couldn't they not max AC? Fresh air would have done so much. Then I'd go to Monica's house. This is back whenever we were first dating and her parents smoked. And I'd be like, we'd go to bed, and I would stuff the bottom of the door with towels, trying to keep that.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing, too. When people walk by, you can smell a smoker, and you can, the weed smell goes for like 12 feet in every direction. It just stinks up the whole store.
Yeah.
They do. They come to interview for a job. Obviously, just as finished smoking weed, or they'll call me on the phone and ask if I'll let them.
And you're going,
if you get to that point, if you're calling an employer to see if they're going to let you smoke weed.
But that's where society is right now, unfortunately, because everyone's trying to hide from the pain of life.
True story.
And
I get that, yeah.
So when government introduces yet another method to numb yourself from that,
that's a great point, Mike.
It becomes pretty popular pretty
great
quick.
Point, man.
And then it makes a society full of useful idiots that they can control at the national level. But that's another subject.
Dude, that is awesome. That is great. That's a whole other show.
We got some comments.
Okay.
3.
All right.
Ms. Tasha Pointer says, I support medical marijuana for those who have a legitimate medical reason. I personally know someone who has had a tremendous improvement in their daily life, but I do not support expanding the current law.
I agree with her.
That's very well said.
1,000%.
Tasha, okay, so I agree with her 1,000%. I think we were all just talking about that, but here's my question. Why is it necessary to remove it being a physician who does that?
Because they're loosening up the terms to allow. That's the whole objective of this group.
Yeah,
is to basically get it past.
Those they want it to get to pleasure.
They want it expanded because everybody's. especially when you get in these little bitty towns. Everybody's got a doctor or a friend.
Yep.
Write it
Pharmacist.
up. I mean,
I can't get over that.
That should show anybody who supports medical marijuana, and I do. That should show anybody who does that they don't care. That's not what they care about.
That's dog water.
A devious intent.
Yeah.
That there's a devious intent there. That right there.
Deceitfulness.
And then throwing in the second part so that once it passes, it locks it in so that when people with common sense come down the road try to fix it, they can't.
They locked in.
Yes.
All right, let's move to another comment. Where are the Christian boundaries that we should be setting?
So kind of a broad question, and I think we're going to hit on. I think we may answer that. At least give people an option to chew on when we talk about
I think that
two, because the casinos are a good example of those boundaries. What are the boundaries? Because I'm a Christian, I'm for the casino.
Yeah.
You're against, so people will have something to chew
Yeah.
on. So we'll cover that.
I think it'll speak to that. That's a good question.
My mom-in-law, Miss Anita Tilley. I don't like any bill that slides in an attached agenda to it. I'm not against medical marijuana, and believe in some circumstances people's lives are improved.
Yes.
Great point. And Brother Wesley from our church, he's the guy that asked the question before. He said the medical need for marijuana is no different than chemotherapy for a cancer patient, but you don't see people standing in line to get chemotherapy. Medical treatment is different than pleasure seeker. And that's what we were talking about.
That's what we're doing is we're mixing medical
with pleasure.
Sliding in the pleasure side.
Yeah.
And it's
that's a good point, Wesley.
Would have a brain that's what they're doing.
Yeah.
That's the problem I have with it. So.
Yeah. That's a great. I don't see anybody going to try to get chemo.
Yeah, yeah.
Like they don't want to go get chemo.
You gotta call it is what it is. This
Yeah.
is a recreational drug that found a little bit of medical use, legit medical use. I mean, it
Yeah.
works for kids with epilepsy.
Yes.
My daughter has epilepsy. We haven't chosen to try that treatment because we have found that, like with any drug, it works initially and then it begins to not work later because your body adapts and gets used to it. Then you need more. So
Yeah.
anyway. It was something recreational that they found a little medical use for it, and now the doors are being blown open.
Right.
With it.
Yep.
Wow.
Well, let's go to two.
Yes, let's do that.
This is a good one.
Let the fun begin.
So, I think whenever
So let's
set the parameters.
Let's talk. What is issue 2 again? If we have
So
new
back to
listeners,
issue
or
2.
what is that?
It's torn, I think, Pope County apart with people, almost hating each other, having very heated conversations,
Like people fighting.
Yes.
and then Christians turning against Christian brothers and sisters because they immediately, if you support it and you're a Christian, then you immediately receive condemnation from everybody. And so I actually did a little research on this because I was like, we've talked about it before. I'm like, why are they against it so much? Because, at the end of the day, we're talking about gambling. And in a place where you can also smoke cigarettes and you can drink. You can already smoke cigarettes here in Russellville in some places, at least maybe outdoors, I don't know. In the county you can. You can already drink. You can already gamble on our phones. Matter of fact, I lost money on the Arkansas game. I decided Arkansas was going to win. And I lost, but it's something I do for fun, and I really enjoy it. I don't put a lot of money into it. I do dollar bets. But I did a little research, and so Focus on the Family. Everybody's familiar with Focus on the Family, right?
Yeah, yep.
They're a great organization. And I thought it was interesting that they said it's common knowledge that gambling often hosts corrupting vices like prostitution. I gotta get my glasses on because I'm now about to turn 50. Prostitution, drug abuse, and so on that alone, I thought, okay, there's competing vices. And from the Oklahoma experience that I've seen, I don't find that to necessarily be true. I found them to be, as long as you get the right casino approved, that they will actually have, they're actually nice places to go and watch concerts and do other things there. You can go get a hotel room. That they usually have nice pools. I don't see prostitutes walking around out front, but I'm sure, like everything, if you go to a truck stop, I'm sure there's something there somewhere. So there's no doubt that it would probably bring something under the radar. Won't be out obvious. So, and then I saw that it said Romans 13, 1 through 5, and it basically translates to protect the welfare. The government's job is to protect the welfare of its citizens, suppress evil. Some say gambling does the opposite, that it victimizes the most vulnerable. And so the real question here, I think, is you cannot deny the economic impact, and I've got a lot of stats for that. It's going to be a tremendous boon for the area economically, which will ultimately fall down to and benefit. We are a poor county.
Yes.
We are a very poor county.
Yes.
The pay for our police officers here, medical,
firemen,
everything is way down. It's one of the reasons I didn't come back home because the police pay was so bad here. Once you get that kind of shot in the arm into your local government, it's going to be massive. And I can bore you with stats, but I'm talking about every city is going to get a significant check from the casino, even down to even the Red Devil Alumni Association. When I was looking at the list of everything that will get paid, as a result of the economic stimulus that we get, your roads will improve. They're already getting ready to build, I think, a new county jail, but you're going to have a massive influx of tax money into Polk County Sheriff's Office, and they're trying to survive off a poor county as it is. It'll bring entertainment options for us, concerts, and the local businesses in and around there will also have a huge increase, like we're getting an Olive Garden, Academy. I've seen a lot of chains come into Russellville and they just can't survive because, like the Chick-fil-A, even here in Russellville, y'all may think it's busy. The Chick-fil-A here is a joke compared to, you go to one in Texas, it's wrapped around three lines deep, wrapped around the building, and they get you through fast. And I go to this one and the line's barely around the corner, maybe too deep, and I've gone there and when we just don't have the population to support any kind of chains. So I think we all agree, so to avoid boredom, do we all agree that there will be a massive economic stimulus?
Yes.
There will be, yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
And so now the question is, at what cost, right? So that comes into the moral side of this story, which is gambling going to bring down, and if you agree with it, is that agreeing to have that here, are you voting against your moral conscience? And that's something each individual person's going to have to decide. But I can tell you that, think about this. Think about that. You can't go into Walmart and buy beer, right? Everywhere I've been in Texas, you can do that. I mean, you can buy beer everywhere. So what has that done for Polk County by saying, no, you can't have alcohol. You can't purchase alcohol and take it with you in Polk County. I can tell you the only thing it's done is made two people in Blackwell really, really rich. Because by removing the opportunity to do something, all you're doing is making them drive elsewhere, and to get that money, like Blackwell, they're poor. That county, that's Conway County, right? Mm-hmm. That is a ton of tax revenue that Polk County has lost, just so people drive 15 miles to go pick up their alcohol. So that's just something to think about, because this stuff is going to happen anyway. So the question is, do we receive the economic benefit and have it here, or do we say no, and then the county next over or up at Fort Smith, they receive all the tax benefit and revenue? Because if somebody wants to do it, I can't imagine that the distance that they have to drive, an hour to the west or 20, it doesn't stop me. I go to Blackwell to get my beer. I mean, it's just what you got to do. I think it's stupid. We could be keeping that tax money here in Polk County. I don't know that Blackwell, us not being able to buy alcohol, has ever stopped anybody from drinking. So just something to think about.
Then why not be for the medical marijuana in dispensaries and get that tax revenue?
Well, and I think that's a great point, because that's whenever I go back to what have other places who have done this experienced. And so in Oklahoma, they have a very, very negative experience with expanding marijuana for just about anybody to have, to the point where it's hurting society.
Mm-hmm.
So that makes me say, I don't like that.
Yeah.
Where the casinos, when I go to Oklahoma, I see nice casinos. I see the amount of money that it brings in. The roads around the place are amazing. It does a lot for the poor local governments there. I haven't seen a negative attribute from gambling being allowed.
Mm-hmm.
So if I did see that same result, then I would probably go against it. Because the question is it going to hurt local society? And that's certainly an opinion. It's a debate for sure.
I'd be interested to see, like you mentioned, and I wish I would not have closed my laptop. I keep having to use my phone for looking up statistics now when I have my laptop right there. But population sizes, Conway County to Pope County. Conway County's pretty dang small, right?
Yeah, it's tiny.
I wonder what the tax revenue is from.
You got to think. I mean, just without having the stats in front of us, the fact that there's two right on the line, and if you go there on a Friday, that place is hopping.
That's what I'm saying.
I mean, that place is just rocking. Go ahead, Chris.
I'm just gonna say, like, just from a biblical standpoint on this issue, like I'm gonna vote what I believe the Bible tells me to vote and how I should vote that way.
Right.
And my pastor always says, "Don't trade land for peace." Would it be nice to have all that money from the casino? Absolutely. But at what cost do we want the money? Do we want like Proverbs 16:8 says, it's better to live with better is a little with righteousness than great revenues with injustice. And some more things says, righteousness exalts a nation, but sin is a reproach to any people. That's Proverbs 14:37. So you got greed with the casino, and then closely related with greed is covetousness, and that's in the Ten Commandments, and that's when you are strong desire to have something, especially something that belongs to someone else.
So, but does keeping it out of Pope County stop it, or just make it go somewhere else?
Keeps that out of our backyard.
Because humans are humans, right?
Right.
But even here, I can promise you how many church members are going and buying lotto tickets. It's the same thing. The lottery, again, everybody's coveting the giant prize, and the byproduct of that is scholarships that y'all even said your kids had taken advantage of, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there's a byproduct over here, which is...
But it's already in place. The casino's not here, so why would we want to bring it here?
I think that's the debate. I think I want it for the tax revenue to help our county, and I think the byproduct of that will even help those. This is just such a poor county that any kind of infusion of tax revenue is going to be huge.
What do you have, the list of? Like who's going to get, who's going to benefit, and does it break it down into who benefits the most, or who?
I could not find it. I had it initially. They had a list, and like I said, all the way down to the Red Devil Alumni Association, but it had each city government and how much they were going to get, and here's the other thing too. Here's the thing we haven't talked about too, our jobs. I notice people around here are always looking for jobs. There's just people need jobs. And and that's another thing too. I would rather give somebody the option to have a job, have benefits, and it's not, in my opinion, it's not for the government to tell me whether, I can drink or go to a casino, and then you can come back with and say, well, then you should like the marijuana. And I say, well, that's because it has a bigger societal effect, has a negative societal effect. Drinking has been around forever. People smoke cigarettes. The only thing we're adding here is a facility where they can actually participate in it versus driving elsewhere. But let's talk about the jobs even. I think from what I looked up, when I looked up online, it says that in the 10-year impact of $3.15 billion on Pope County.
Say that again.
That's B with a billion.
Say it again.
The 10-year impact
10
of
year.
$3.15 billion for Pope County residents, which means it's going to increase the quality of life here. You have a direct employment of 1,000 people in year 1, and then by year 10, you'll be getting 2,400 people per year. 10-year employment income of $530 million. So think about that alone. Over the span of 10 years, people who right now are not working or have a job that they don't necessarily like, you got a $530 million employment income.
What all these people coming in, though, what kind of people are they going to be? Who knows?
Well, I found that most of them, they come in, they spend their money, and they leave. As far as the visitors were, the people coming in, doing it, and leaving. And a lot of our residents are leaving to go to Oaklawn, to go to...
go visit and leave. Yeah.
To go visit and leave. And also a new law enforcement substation, a new med-flight landing zone. Let's see, there's $18.9 million Pope County Development Grant, $1 million to the Russellville Economic Development Alliance, $38 million to various other community groups, including like the Red Devil Foundation. They don't get very much. It's not going to be a lot. And so it kind of comes back to, I've looked in the Bible. I don't know that there's anything saying that you can't. You talked about like.
Well, let me say this: like I believe gambling is taking from the poor and giving to the rich, and it robs them of their dignity, wealth, and traps them by deception. Because I have a stat that says that National Gambling Impact Study Commission found that those with incomes less than $10,000 spend more on lottery tickets than any other group, with high school dropouts spend 4 times as much as college graduates. This clearly is at odds with biblical ethics. Scripture exhorts us to look out for the poor and the disadvantaged, and it issues strong warnings against those who try to take advantage of their plight. Proverbs 22:16 says, "Whoever oppresses the poor to increase his own wealth or give to the rich will only come to poverty."
So I think oppressing the poor is not giving them jobs where they can have benefits and money to spend, because the amount of job infusion that they're going to get. And then
but it's not going to be enough jobs to make a massive difference in Pope County.
When you infuse $3.15 billion over 10 years, it's going to have a massive
I did read
impact.
something here, Chris. I will say this, and for our listeners that know, I'm over here legit soaking all this in, looking at my phone, trying to get statistics and stuff, because I'm on the fence. And I hate being like that. I know you'll give me crap about this, but
and you're
I'm
not
on the
bad
fence
either way.
because I see both of your arguments here, and I feel both of those arguments. But I did see something that those jobs, what did you say, 1,000 right off the bat?
In the first year.
In the first year, and a large majority of those are really good jobs.
They actually pay pretty well when you work at these places. They treat their patron or their employees well. Now,
but at what expense? What expense? Why would we trade land for peace? Why would we want all this money at expense of going against what we believe?
Well, that's the thing. That's why
what I believe.
We're in the United States, and I don't want.
But you want them to control the marijuana? You want them to control lesbians and gays?
I don't want them controlling lesbians and gays. I do want the economic benefit. But when you talk about like coveting and greed, what do you think Amazon is? All those, we have people here addicted.
I agree, but we don't have a choice. We don't have a say in that matter.
We don't, but
we have a say in this matter
because a religious institution, Christians, are trying to say, you know what, in this county you can't do that. And guess what happens down the road whenever that government.
But you say the same thing about medical marijuana.
No.
You can't do that.
No.
Yeah.
Well,
what?
Okay, medical marijuana. I'm talking about. Okay, first of all, before I say that, let me say this. I keep going back to the triage argument me and Mike had during Ukraine. I just feel like like as Christians, we're under attack from all sides on everything, and there are so many. Like to me, where I'm sitting at the moment, way more serious battles for us to fight than this one.
But this is the battle right in front of us.
This one's here. And
this is the battle here right now. I'm
Fight
with you on that.
I agree.
So
those battles, abortion and nothing else is
too.
Not right now. They're not. They're not on the ballot.
Well, I agree. That's true. You're right. That's true.
But you could, I mean, you have a point there. Do we want it in our backyard? And that's what people are going to have to decide. I don't think that what it will. I think that the positives versus the negatives and what it brings Pope County is an ultimate benefactor for even the low income residents or people who are looking for jobs can actually elevate their life. That $1 billion increase into the county will be huge. And you say at what cost? I mean, at the end of the day, everything, all the same. Sadly, a lot of the very people against it are also the very people going and buying lotto tickets, making bets on football games. We are not perfect people. I want to be able to make my choice, with what we do. And
kind of sounds like a my body, my choice thing there.
Well, in that case, as a man, I should have a choice on whether or not a girl gets an abortion.
We don't.
That's a whole other subject. And the thing is, Chris, you're not wrong. I mean, if that's the way you feel as a human being, there is nothing wrong with voting that way. But here's the thing. We have to understand the consequences of this vote. You can feel that way, and as long as you acknowledge the loss of revenue.
I don't want the money. It's not worth it to me.
And that's fine. And that's what some people will vote on. Because all you're doing, like you're doing with Blackwell, is you're just displacing the tax revenue.
But look at Martin's a dump, man.
I'm not saying that they're getting a ton of money over there from their tax revenue.
Right.
I was trying to figure out earlier when I was looking stuff up.
But you're talking about making people rich. I mean, it's made two guys or girls, whoever own those two stores, just hand over fist.
Well, any liquor store or gas station that sells beer that's on a county line of a dry county is rich.
Yeah, and that's because we made the choice that.
I'm not saying just our county, any county.
It's just, I still find it insane that I have to drive to Blackwell to get beer. That's just so absurd to me. You're not stopping me from doing anything. Whoever decided back in the day their moral value that alcohol was so horrible, that they decided you couldn't do that here. I think it's kind of like that with the casino. It's like, you do you, and if we have a good societal impact from it, which I think we would in the form of tax revenue and others, you got to also think too. I don't know, and is Polk County's not the residents of Polk County are not going to be the main people at this place. It's people coming from other places, driving through on the interstate, stopping, spending some money, eating at our restaurants, and going on.
Coming to see a show or something.
Or see a good concert. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'd love to be able to see a good concert there. I have no desire to go inside a casino where they're smoking because I'll go crazy thinking about my mom's car when I was a kid. But I would like to see it here. But I mean, at this point, we're kind of. It's as simple as that, and we can keep going back and forth.
Yeah, it's just agree to disagree.
But it's agree to disagree. There you go. Sorry.
Air compressor.
And that was
there, ladies and gentlemen.
That was an air compressor that went off and scared us all to right whenever we said we agreed to disagree. And so
thought we were under a terrorist attack or something.
We're Christian brothers, and we wholeheartedly disagree on this, and guess what? We're still buddies. It's okay. He's not condemning me to hell because of the way I believe, and I'm not looking at him and just thinking, well, look at you, Pharisee, looking down your nose at me. We're not doing that.
You're talking about impacts, good or bad. I'm sitting here thinking about
what's your opinion on the matter, sir?
I think I'm getting ready to make my stance known here.
Oh man, big time.
So, what I was going to say though,
he's jumping off the fence.
Thinking about effects, and you were talking about the economic effects, and I think that would greatly improve just stay on the economic part just for a moment. The economic impact would greatly improve a lot of families' lives here in Polk County, the residents of Polk County who live here in Polk County. But
What about the ones it
hold on,
destroys?
that's what I was getting ready to. I'm getting ready to talk about.
They're going to
Will there be?
They're going to do it anyway, no matter whether it's here or there.
Will there be negative impacts to families here in Polk County? And I think the answer to that is probably yes. There are going to be people who already have a tendency to have addictive personalities and things like that who live here. Who it's going to make it way easier for them to do it, and it's going to hurt their family, hurt their kids. So here we are, right?
So now you're back on the fence again.
No, that's what I'm getting ready to say. So in my mind, I'm trying to play through that, and I wish I could have looked up a bunch of more, like other places, to see where that balance or where that scale gets tipped. Just trying to judge where we live and who we are here as people. I feel like the economic impact would far outweigh the negative impact.
I agree.
I think that, but that's still tragic though, because think about those families that will negatively impact that. Like the kids go, like a guy goes to the casino and spends his family's savings, and his kids don't go to school or something. I mean, it's just.
I mean, at the end of the day, the Lord.
What about
the Lord didn't say you must come to me. He said you can. It's your choice. You can come to me if you want. Our Lord didn't say you will come to me. That's the thing. That's the beauty about our Jesus is He said you can come to me if you want. I mean, that's up to you.
But He said,
He's not a God who says, you must come to me and you will worship me like every other religion in the world. There's but one that says, you come to me of your own free will.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's amazing. Now, I'm not saying it's the same thing with casinos, but my point is we have a choice in life whether or not you can eliminate all vices. That's an endless rabbit hole that we could go down. Go ahead, Chris.
I was just going to say, to me, it's just not worth bringing something here to contribute more to people consuming these vices. The guy that's got $100 to his name doesn't have a car to even go to Oklahoma, but he can walk down the street up here in Russellville.
But I think we're kind of doing like the abortion thing, where we're using an extreme example, and that's all they talk about. Like when at the end of the day, this is not reality. Just like that right there.
It's not reality?
I said not. It's a small percentage.
Right.
A small percentage. Will that occur? Would it have occurred anyway? Yes. But what about the other 95% where people act like gambling is the worst thing under the sun?
Well,
who hasn't gotten on their phone and bet?
Well, let me say this.
All sin is equal, whether you're eating 5 things of chocolate cake or you're gambling.
Did that today.
I think in this discussion that's been lost in the county, in Polk County. They act like bringing a casino in is like they're bringing in a whorehouse. I mean, it's like.
I do agree with that statement.
Down.
That there is a little bit of
gambling is. Yes, there's a vice. Yes, there are. But come on, man.
My point. My thing is saying is like, as a Christian man, I'm not going to promote anything extra. Why would I do that?
Yeah.
Why would I go against my
biblical?
biblical?
Man, and it despises me that I got to drive to Blackwell to get my beer. I don't know how they got the law. I wasn't living here. I can imagine the discussion and upheaval there must have been to allow someone to have a beer while they eat dinner here. Because you could have used all the same arguments against him. Some guy's going to drink and drive. He's going to kill somebody. He's going to I want to go, and if I want to have a beer with my food, it's nice to have. Here it was like a big deal to be able to get that. I mean, so I don't know how that got passed, but I'm glad it did.
My thing is, the more I think about this, is where is this fervor and fight that the county has put up here against this casino? Where is that on abortion?
It's failed.
Where is that? I mean,
It's failed.
On
Because
you know,
they're the petitioners for the casino. There were churches, multiple churches involved in
yes, that's
the
right.
signature.
Yeah.
They were at my church. I've never seen one for the abortion.
They were at my
amendment.
church.
So that's what I'm saying is that, I don't know, is the devil getting us focused all on this stupid gambling thing? Like when people gamble, the end of the world's going to happen. Meanwhile, babies are being killed and we're
Actively
all
killed.
sleepwalking into it. You know, I don't know, but I think that's why it's such a good discussion. I'm glad we were able
Another
to
thing.
talk
We,
about it.
we never heard your.
Yeah, get off the fence, brother.
We never heard your.
First of all, I got to think about before I say yes or no. Got to yes means no, and no means yes. I got to say.
I'll read
it in my head a
read
couple
some
times.
comments. Read
Let's
some
hear some
comments.
comments.
Yeah, before I give my opinion. Yeah.
Let me go back to the top.
My wife commented on my text message, told me to get off my phone. Wife, I'm looking up stuff. I'm not.
Hey, wife,
I'm
he
not
does
playing.
it when he's talking to me too, just so you know.
Somebody said, then put on the ballot that the casinos has to pay tithes to every church in the county.
Wouldn't that be awesome? No, for real, that would be awesome. Hey, all of a sudden the churches would be like, "Let's go!" No, I'm kidding. That's good.
People will work if they want to work. Jobs are here, but people stand on the corner. There will be more of that. May not be perfect people, but the Word of God tells us to be more imitators of Christ. That could have been the trumpet when the thing went off.
That's what I thought for like a split second. That's exactly what that was.
I've seen communities, families destroyed. Where are the people that need jobs? We hear business owners all the time saying they can't find anyone to work. What about crime increase? That does occur. Does that occur where casinos are? I knew a guy who lived in Memphis. He had a great paying job. He cashed his check at the casino and sat there until it was all gone. He lived in literal poverty because of his addiction to gambling. Ask Eve what her decision would be now after she compromised in the garden. And Ask Eve.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
what you're saying. Yeah.
And so the devil is offering Pope County an apple.
And you know what? That's fair, and I'm aware that the audience here, that I'm in the minority of that, and that's okay. Will there be a crime increase? I think that anytime you have an influx of anything, you add anything into a county,
Yeah.
you're going to have more people, you're going to have a little bit more crime. I've seen that the casinos are very controlled, they're very clean. The Indian-run casinos in Oklahoma, which this one would be the same, that they're very clean. Are there going to be consequences, both good and bad, of adding something that does not exist right now? Absolutely, there will be. The question is, are those consequences more positive than negative?
Yeah.
So that's basically what you boil it down to. And the thing is, like when we're on stuff like this, like I could sit here till I'm blue in the face. I will never change your mind on this.
No.
So this is just basically for people who, like Eric, are in the middle.
Yeah.
And maybe they're wrestling with a moral side, or if in their heart they feel like, the Bible would not want this here, or God's word. That's why we're having this discussion.
That's exactly why we're having it.
I worked in government, so as a police officer and watching, I think people forget that governments require money to run. They require money to put bad guys in jail. They require money to put out fires, especially in the county. So as from a government perspective, obviously I'm very, very interested in the economic impact, and I think it'll have residual benefits to entertainment, things like concerts, things like that. But I mean, we go on and on and on about it.
Yeah.
I mean, there's endless stuff. If you
We just had a great conversation tonight. Thanks for opening this up.
Well, and the thing is, if you want to go find something and you're like in your mind, you're like, I want this casino. You can find every piece of information on the internet to help you validate that.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't want it, You could find every piece of information to prove that we don't need a casino.
I got
So-
just a quick little angle here I thought of just now, and it's not on a moral ground or anything like that. It's just, since I've moved.
Remember,
back
he's
home,
on the fence.
When I moved back home, I came from Conway, a little bit bigger place, booming and bustling and all that, 3 colleges and all that, and I worked in Little Rock some when I was on the ambulance and all that stuff, and I definitely didn't like that. It was nice to come home to a little bit slower pace,
Back here and
back
Yeah,
home here,
yeah.
Russ Vegas, Atkins,
100%.
Polk County,
Agree.
that was nice.
I never
Will
want this place to turn into Conway. Never.
ever.
So will this casino and everything that comes with it change that? Will we still be Little Yanni, Polk County, or will we turn in Conway?
It's not going to Conway, but will you see Parkway get more businesses like the Olive Gardens coming and Academy?
Yeah.
Could you have some national chains come in? Would it increase traffic in the Parkway area? I think it would. Would it increase traffic going to our hotels? Absolutely. Is it going to become Conway? No way. I've looked at the population of Polk County, and over the course of the last 25 years, it has inched up at such a slow pace. I think we're still only at 60,000 people in Polk County. The city I worked in, the city alone was 150,000 people. And this whole county, which is a huge county, has got 60, 70,000 people in it.
It's the biggest county around.
And it's all rural, and there are people here who got some money, yes, but it is a poor, poverty county.
Yes.
You look at the school districts. I've heard some pretty rough stories of even kids going to Atkins, coming without socks on. I didn't know it was that way because I grew up here just thinking this place was awesome. And it is awesome, but I just didn't know how poor it was.
You think the casino's going to change that, the way people are? The way they're in,
It could certainly help that.
it's going to make facilities and stuff better, but I don't think it's going to change the way
Change
poverty.
families,
It's not going
making
to
more
change
money.
poverty.
It's gonna
But-
when you bring
But
in,
if those people wanted a job, they would go find a job right now.
well, that's such a easy way to say.
Why aren't they, though?
Because maybe their job skill isn't set to a factory. Maybe
So it's going to be set to a casino?
Maybe it's hospitality at a casino.
Well, 'cause
But that's
very little
I mean-
of the actual casino's employment, I think, would be the gambling floor.
right. You got restaurants
You're
and,
going to have
and
hospitality,
waitresses and all that.
logistics would be out
Well, we got
the
plenty of
game.
places to get jobs for hospitality right now.
Look at like logistics. If you bring in that place, the logistics jobs will be awesome. Like running the,
But these people that are in poverty right now, they can't even get a logistics job.
Well, that's
They're not qualified.
But these are the kind of jobs. Hospitality jobs are the kind of jobs that you can get with basically no skills.
But there's ample restaurants in Russellville right now. Ample.
So I don't want to get into that because we're all guessing off of what we think without the actual hard numbers.
That's true.
So we could dive off into that and it would never end. But there is no question that an increase in jobs, revenue into the county, always leads to the entire county rises up because your school districts start to get more money in the tax bases, police, fire, emergency, all that stuff is going to get better.
But the rich are going to get richer and the poor are going to get poor because the poor are still going to be spending their money at the casino.
That's a huge assumption you're making because you're assuming that just because someone's poor that they go to the casino, and that's not necessarily true. But what I can tell you is that the poor people are the ones who will be seeking the jobs in the hospitality, working in the casino, and their life will come up.
But I go back to again, why aren't they seeking a job now?
Well, I mean, how do you know that they're not?
I don't.
How do you know that the skill set?
How do you know they will with the casino?
Because there's other casinos to look at.
And something else I just thought
But
of.
if they're not actively looking for a job now,
We actually have some family member that Monica has that works in a casino. She drives about 40 miles to it and absolutely loves it, makes a good income, has good benefits.
but she had probably had a job before that.
Well, of course, everybody's had jobs before that.
No, I'm saying like an
Something else
active
that
job.
you may think it-
Think about this too. It's not always about how much you get paid, it's benefits. Sometimes is your health insurance that you're going to get going to be a massive upgrade over the local company that won't pay you for a full-time job, so they don't have to give you benefits in the form of health insurance and things like that. So there's a lot of positive impact that will come from it. But yes, are there extreme examples?
There's not even extreme examples, but like.
But the guy sitting outside the casino and wasting away his life savings, that's pretty extreme. Does it happen? Sure it does.
That's something I thought of
But
too.
like,
I think the casino, by default.
What's your answer?
Hold on. By default, is also going to be a magnet for not just those 1,000 jobs.
Oh no.
Applebee's, other restaurants.
Yes.
Well, I thought of Applebee's first, but other restaurants.
Red Lobster.
Red Lobster. Conway's been about to get a Red Lobster for the last 26 years.
Hey, we're getting an Olive Garden. Listen, bro.
I know, bro.
Y'all are all done. We're
Endless
getting
breadsticks,
we're
baby.
getting a casino because we're getting an Olive Garden.
Now, so for real though, I think that's something I've not thought about. That economic impact goes beyond the casino. It's not just going to be the casino. There are going to be 4 or 5 new hotels open up. There will be new restaurants opening up, new shopping centers opening up. And
if we could have gotten the Buc-ee's, because the Buc-ee's, I believe, went to Benton.
Because we didn't have it
Because we
lined out,
delayed.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Buc-ee's, a person working at the cash register at the
Unreal.
Buc-ee's in
Yep.
Katy makes $20 to $25 an hour.
Yes.
If you work your way up to being like a manager at Buc-ee's, you're bringing in $120,000 a year
Yes.
with benefits. This is at a gas station.
That's legit too. That's
they
real.
have the
But they ain't coming.
No, it ain't because
we delayed on
because
the,
we
it
delayed.
Was. I
It
think
went
was.
to
Well, not now.
Yeah, it's coming to Benton. Yeah.
and the gas prices in Polk County are always through the roof. That Buc-ee's would have murdered the gas prices here, but we're not getting a Buc-ee's, so it doesn't matter.
That's devastating.
It's absolutely devastating.
How you voting,
Beaver.
sir?
It's okay, so here we are. We've waited now. How long have we been on the air?
Hour and 40 minutes.
Let's wait another 10, you know.
No.
I'm just teasing. So I think, like I get it in my head right, yes or no. No means yeah, okay. I will be voting no.
So you want the
So
casino?
you want the casino?
Yes.
Wants the casino? So I'm in the minority on the podcast.
But the people watching all got your back.
They do. That's true.
And I've been sitting here this whole time trying to weigh who's it going to help and who's it going to hurt.
That's a good. This guy
Maybe
just.
I'm
I actually
wrong.
had this script. I'm gonna interrupt you, but I'm going to.
I love you.
Are you getting aggressive?
I am.
I'm curious what whatever our
So this guy said the money is the money. So money is the root of all evil. So everything you're discussing is all over money. And I had that on here, and it says, "For the love of money is the root of all kinds of evil. It is through this craving that some have wandered away from the faith and pierced themselves with many prongs." That's 1 Timothy 6:10.
Wow. That's kind of easy to say, but at the end of the day, when you call for an ambulance to come pick you up, you can say it's all about money until that ambulance is there picking you up.
Well, they come pick us up now.
They will.
Yeah.
They do, and they're going to get better and have better care for you when they get here. And
But it's
right now-
all about government agencies. Like this guy said, it's the governmental agencies and the casino owners that are going to get rich. That's politics.
Well, just like the owner of Olive Garden is going to get rich. I mean, that's really not a profound statement. Anybody who owns a business and that business is popular is
But
going to
that's
make
the rich
money.
get richer.
I'm gonna
What
throw
is
a
wrong
scenario.
with the rich person getting richer? We live in the United States of America. If I come up with something that you like and I get everybody to buy it,
I
it
agree with
doesn't
that.
make me
I
bad.
agree with that.
Doesn't make me a bad
I
person.
picture
But is it going to
a-
help the poor people?
It absolutely will when you
I
get
don't
an
agree.
Because guess what? All of the poor people we're just talking about, who depends on the government more than anything? It's the poor people. And when you can raise up your county government and your city governments, the end result to that are the actual poor people that you're talking about. So, I mean, government, we can say whatever we want. This is local. I'm not talking national, but government requires money to run.
Of course.
How does it run? Based off people selling widgets, selling stuff, selling food. That's just the reality of how we fund our government here. And so there is no question that your government, your local government here in Polk County, will have a huge benefactor to it. It
What
will.
about the young nursing student, gets a job at Legends, pays her really well, works for their schedule, puts her through school. sends her on her way, may even help her with her school. I don't know if this casino does. I mean, who knows?
I'm
what
sure
they've
that
got.
there's something.
Puts her on her way to a really good career, or the dad who goes to work driving for a company that delivers to food to the casino.
Well, I mean, the
And is
very
able to send
vice
his-
that is so bad that we're talking about has funded both of y'all's kids' college education to a degree.
Some point, yes, yes.
You could have all these same discussions about a guy sitting outside a gas station and evaporating his check on lotto tickets trying to win the lotto.
That's
but-
very true.
But it has the amount of scholarship money that they've given out to kids who can't afford college. So in like the
But I
lotto,
also didn't vote for the lottery, so
that's fair. I appreciate the honesty.
Fair,
So
yeah,
let's take the lotto. I've seen the people in front of me stop and get those things, and I've never bought a lotto ticket in Arkansas. I think it's absurd.
I do every time we travel. That's our little thing we do is buy
And so
a
something
ticket
fun.
wherever we go. One
But
ticket.
look at
Yeah.
what it has done for kids, because
Yeah.
my son's in school right now, and it's about to break our bank in two. You know, I mean, it's rough. So any help would have
You
been
send him to
nice,
Harvard,
but
the Arkansas Harvard.
well, it's pricey, man. You should have gone somewhere else, but that's a whole other subject.
Yeah.
So anyway, I think we're probably to the point of closing. I mean, we're not going to change anybody's mind, but just maybe give some people some new perspective.
yeah.
Maybe a new angle to look at it. And I would just say that if you're a Christian out there in my closing statements, you're not going to hell and you're not a horrible person if you decide to vote for the casino. You can actually be both. And I,
My man's dying.
he is.
Yeah, my man, I can see it.
and while we're at it, could we also get it where I could buy a beer at Walmart in Russellville instead of having to drive to Blackwell? That would be awesome. And I'm a Christian. I love Jesus. I'm not going to hell, and I'm not a bad person. Thank you.
What were you going to say? You were about to say something.
I was going to make my closing statements that if you're a Christian, you should vote what your Bible says, vote your conviction, and vote your biblical worldview. That's what I think you should do, and that's what I'm going to do.
So what should they vote?
Huh? I don't even know.
No, say it.
I don't remember.
He's got to do that. I need to go. Wait a minute. Yes, me.
Okay. Yes. Then they would vote for you. They would vote yes to stop the casino license.
Yeah. Yes
Mine would be no to keep it.
Yeah. Yes to stop it. No to keep it.
There we go. It's
Yes
confusing.
to stop it.
Hey, look.
No to
Hey,
keep it.
I'm checking my notes. Yes for no casino. No to keep casino. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're right.
Have our wives chimed in on this at all to see what they're
No.
doing?
No,
I'm
Mine's-
curious.
I'm sure mine's asleep.
they don't care.
Mike says, "Yeah, mine don't listen to anything I say." my closing statement. Have you given yours?
Yeah, I just was going to say, just vote with your biblical worldview. I believe that's how every Christian should look at this. And if you vote it, vote it.
I'm going to come back to, as a guy who rode this fence pretty hard on this subject, it was tough for me. And there's still a little bit of me that, but I'm going.
It's tough.
I'm voting no, which means yes. So I feel again that there's bigger fights to fight. There are bigger, in Polk County, I wish we would get together and raise 42 kinds of, about killing babies.
That's the thing that frustrates me. The Polk County churches have decided that casinos are what
Yes.
it's all about.
Yes, that's all they brought up.
And while
Not all churches.
As a whole,
Maybe as a whole.
Yeah, yeah.
Because I've not seen one, handing out pamphlets for the abortion amendment. Our buddy that came on led the charge alone
Yes.
as a young man to stop that. And so sometimes I think we can get so caught up that we're looking at this while the bigger issue is over here is this. And hopefully
But is it a bigger issue?
abortion
Absolutely, it is.
Abortion is a sin, is whatever. Gambling's a sin.
No, hold
It's
on a
all the
minute,
same
hold,
sin.
Hold on a minute. Though. No, you're in the little square there. Of that, you're right. But abortion is actively murdering someone, actively every day murdering people. This casino is not doing that.
Agreed.
Yeah.
But we don't have a fight. We're not voting on an abortion right now tomorrow.
No, we're just talking about hoping that the local church in Polk County
They should be standing up for
will
both,
take
not
the
just one.
same
And
Well, I don't have a
fervor
problem with you saying that. That's
that will take the same fervor that they took with the casino and apply it to right for life.
If they would have done, if churches across the country, and this goes back to Christians not voting, okay? If the church
and staying off, controversial
yes, if the
stuff.
church and Christians would have taken the same fervor, big word, fervor and fight and passion to abortion as they've done with this casino, that whole thing that Pierce and his team have had to do
wouldn't even have been close.
would not have even been it would not have even been a sniff. You know, but by the way, Pierce is in Missouri fighting that same fight. That dude's awesome.
He is amazing.
He is going leading people door to door.
Do you know?
Anyway,
Well, you know what's funny too is a lot of people don't know, like on this casino fight, that it's actually, the opposing, the people funding it.
this is big. I did read that.
They're using the Christians here, and they're using them as cover.
Yeah, you said that at the beginning.
Yeah.
That it's actually just the opposing casinos not wanting to lose money. And
That's
so
who's funding all these.
That to me is gross. That it's not a grassroots movement. That it's a multimillionaire.
That is not Christians rising up to stand up.
No,
that is those.
It is an organization using their big pockets and using Christians to run the
pulling
front.
them into the
to run the front.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
So anyway,
It's been fun, fellas.
it was a good one.
Hey, get your booties out and
Monday.
vote, people. I mean,
Right?
come on, really. Yeah, it starts tomorrow.
I see.
I mean, another thing I hear too that we didn't talk about earlier is I live in Arkansas. It doesn't matter. What I vote doesn't matter in Arkansas. Like, for instance, Trump's going to win Arkansas by 1 billion. Well, yeah, he is. But your vote does matter. That's
Especially-
plus
Tell
one.
them how. Tell them how.
That's plus one more in the popular vote.
And
Right?
you got your local issues.
And you got your local issue. That's what I was getting ready to say. Local issues mean a ton. And you're doing what you're supposed to do. You're doing your civic duty as an American. That's how the system was designed. And I would venture to say if we all did that across this country, we wouldn't be in half the mess we'd be in right now. It kind of goes back to the abortion fight. We wouldn't be in half the mess we're in now. So just get out. And it's so easy. I hate people say they ain't got time. I can't go vote. It's open, 12 hours a day?
And if you actually look it up, they've got places you can early vote literally all over the county.
Yes.
I mean, it's close.
It's so easy. Yeah. So I heard, on a funny note to end it, I heard Comrade Kamala saying the other day that she's against voter ID because people don't have printers
Yeah.
at home.
Yeah, I heard that.
To be able to print.
But if I go by Zyrtec D, my ID gets scanned and logged somewhere. If I buy a beer, it gets scanned and logged, but you don't need one to vote.
Yeah.
Ready?
Let's do this. That was fun.
It was.
Pray us out. Pray everybody not to.
Hey, thank y'all for listening tonight, y'all. That was really cool. Looks like we had some good number of folks on here.
We did. Dear Heavenly Father, Lord, I thank you for this day, Lord. I thank you for this conversation. I pray, God, that you will give people the strength to vote their conviction, Father, vote their biblical worldview. Just go vote, Father. And I pray, God, that you lead and guide us by your Holy Spirit. We love you and we praise you in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Man.
Great discussion.
Dude, that was awesome. That was great.
Yes, I think it'll be good.
That was